My husband said running the house was the bare minimum a Roomba could handle, so I got a job and left him to do everything until he accidentally sent our daughter to school with his mom's prescription narcotics instead of her lunch and got us investigated by child services while she became known as the substance girl, and he nearly lost his job and our kids because he couldn't even remember to pay the electric bill. My husband Mark has always said that me taking care of the whole house was the bare minimum. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, homework help, school lunches, driving to practice, making beds, grocery shopping, literally everything except his job was apparently a piece of cake. He'd walk in at 5 and plant himself in front of the TV with a beer by 6, while I hadn't stopped moving since dawn and wouldn't till bedtime. Thing is, it never even bothered me until I started paying attention to what Mark really thought of me. It was always just little comments at dinner I'd dismissed. Like when our daughter Eunice talked about her friend's mom who was a surgeon, and Mark would say, "Now that's a real career," while looking directly at me. Or when Mark would introduce me at his company events, and when asked what I do for work, he'd say, "She's just a housewife." The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. He'd walk past me scrubbing toilets and sarcastically say, "Rough life." At parent-teacher conferences, he'd interrupt me to translate what the teacher means to me, like I was too stupid to understand English. When the washing machine broke and I fixed it using YouTube, he told his friends I got lucky pressing buttons. He'd FaceTime his mom while I cooked dinner and pan the camera over me saying, "Look, Mom, Jenny's pretending to be busy again." When I organized our taxes, receipts, and bills every year, he'd joke that even monkeys can sort papers. When our neighbors noticed how exhausted I seemed and suggested to Mark that I could use some help, he said that hiring a maid would be pointless since Jenny barely does anything a Roomba couldn't handle. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. And then during one family dinner, I hit my boiling point. Mark's brother was visiting, and Mark was going on about his latest promotion, which I was super happy about BTW. His brother asked what I'd been up to after hearing Mark's monologue. I actually got excited. Nobody really asked me what I was up to. I went to answer, but before I could, Mark jumped in with, "Oh, you know my Jenny. She doesn't do a whole lot. Deciding between paper and plastic straws is probably her biggest decision of the day." Everyone laughed. Even my kids laughed. I sat there cutting my chicken and realized something changed inside me. That night, I updated my resume for the first time in 15 years. I'd been a marketing director before Eunice was born, but Mark had insisted one of us should stay home. Well, now, I applied to 5 jobs, and pretty soon I got an offer from a tech startup. The salary was $15,000 less than Mark's, but I accepted it immediately. Sunday night before my Monday start date, I made a nice dinner, pot roast, which was Mark's favorite. And as we ate, I mentioned casually that I'd gotten a job and would be starting tomorrow. Mark chuckled like I was a comedian. Right, doing what exactly? I explained to him about the marketing position and watched his face change. The kids looked confused like they couldn't process Mom doing anything outside the house. "You can't be serious," Mark said. "Who's going to handle everything here? The kids have practice and Eunice has her recital coming up and my mother needs her prescriptions picked up every week and I'm sure you'll figure it out," I said, taking another bite of pot roast. The next morning I left at 7 a.m. sharp. Mark was scrambling trying to figure out the coffee maker. Eunice was yelling about not having clean volleyball shorts. Chris couldn't find his science textbook. I grabbed my purse and my travel mug and walked out the door. My first week was incredible. I'd forgotten